Now this one is a different kind of analog horror series, and it's kind of just like a going back and forth between allegedly Sega and Peta. It's kind of weird. Basically, on one hand of the spectrum, we have Peta here, who are upset with Sega for apparently abusing animals, mistreating them, killing animals and stuff like that. I assume like they mean like in the games, they're not actually doing that. And then you got Sega on the other hand that are just kind of ignoring them, but eventually they start to not be able to ignore them anymore. This series is like really cursed in this messaging, and it's a bit weird in translation too. It's kind of hard to explain what's even really going to happen here, but I'm gonna try my best. Just watch out for the disturbing imagery, because there's some real weird stuff here trying to portray their message, and sometimes it gets a little bit extreme in terms of like the wording and stuff. I might censor some stuff out because they start talking kind of crazy. But yeah, man, this analog horror series is called Peta Sonic. So literally all the first tape is about is pretty much Peta telling Sega's viewers, their supporters, to stop supporting them because apparently they abuse animals and stuff like that.
Hello everyone, especially kids. We, Tails, Knuckles and I are going to tell you that please don't support Sega because they abuse animals.
Now what I think they're referring to is like in the games, you know, you get game overs and stuff like that. Basically, theoretically, in that world, it would be an animal being abused, and you're kind of playing as that animal in the game, you know, them being hedgehogs and stuff like that. Yeah, apparently Peta does not like that very much, and they've gone as far as to tell all the Sega supporters to just stop supporting them, bruh.
Please concern to fucking kill all your games and persons who work with you for the love of all animals.
That sounds so great. So remember, especially kids. Sega supports the cruelty of animals. Don't support them, be vegan, and better support US. We are PETA.
And apparently they've been trying to do it for a little bit, and Sega hasn't responded to anything that they've been doing, and it's kind of making PETA upset. So they decided to drop this monstrosity. Yeah, so as you can see, it's already getting kind of cursed. That's basically the extent of what this video here is, so we're going to move on to the next one. So, the next one starts off with some gameplay of Sonic 3D Blast, right before it gets abruptly interrupted by, guess who? This time they seem to be a bit more upset at the supporter as opposed to Sega, as they told you previously already. Stop supporting them. What are you doing? Yeah, it's mad creepy because they even go as far as to call you a traitor and start kind of threatening the viewers. Like, it legitimately gets to the point where Peta just kind of feels like they're running everything, and you not listening to them just makes you a traitor. And they start showing weird images to try to sway you to stop supporting them, knowing that you're probably still not going to.
And they will really enjoy eating you, just as humans enjoy eating meat.
So, in the third tape, something a bit different happens. We start off watching a episode of a Sonic TV show, and then it's interrupted by Peta once again. And this time they're still protesting them, of course, and trying to get the viewer to stop viewing their content, stop supporting them. But this time someone, a Sega worker, actually tries to combat the Peta person.
What are you doing?
Fighting for Sega to stop mistreating animals.
What? Oh, you're from Peta, right?
Of course. Would you be interested in joining us in battling against Sega?
What makes you think Sega pays attention to them?
They're cowards. Go.
You really believe that? Well,
yeah, they kind of just like explain to them like they're not going to pay attention to you. They do not care about your opinion. They don't care about any of that. And this is kind of the part where they start to devolve a bit more into like racism. I don't want to say blatant racism, but they start going into oh, Japan doesn't care about you, Japan doesn't care about that kind of deal. They don't care about what Americans have to say kind of stuff. Yeah, Peta didn't take very kindly to that. They murdered this employee. Now, I don't know why Sonic is all the characters, but clearly this is representative of a girl that works for Sega, and yeah, Peta kills her.
telling me that Peta wants Japan.
You're right. After that,
Well, try to get the attention of that egocentric Asian boss, because he will not care what you do with his pet.
of course, we will call his attention.
And how will they do it? Keep making stupid videos about Sega mistreating Sonic.
Animals are not ours to eat, wear, experiment on, or use for entertainment.
So this next tape is kind of the aftermath of that event, and you come to find out that Peta is now allegedly kidnapping people and murdering them. 3 employees alone have already been killed by them, and there have been over 24 different disappearances. And they blatantly come on the air to let you know that they're responsible for doing that. And if you were to stop supporting Sega, that these disappearances would stop happening. So they're really pushing this right now.
Hey, it's me, little hedgehog. Today is a wonderful day, but we realize that Sega Japan not only mistreats animals, he does not care about his employees. He only worries about himself and the money. He even said it himself. It's sad that someone you love doesn't just hurt animals, but also humans. It's also sad that America, well, he's a tremendous coward. He didn't even do anything after what happened. But hey, continuing with Japan, stop buying games from Japan. Stop supporting him. That self-centered Asian shouldn't be standing still. America doesn't need...
However, this does get the leader of Sega involved, and he finally responds and has some stuff to say about it. So this is the kind of turning point where they get to kind of being at each other's necks, and he talks a little bit about it towards the end of this tape here. So, the next tape is kind of offensive, to be honest, but we finally get a response from the CEO here of Sega, and apparently he's not very happy about everything that's been going on. We see that it's very clear. He's finally been forced to use his voice, and he pretty much just lets them know he still does not care about them.
Especially Peta. And yes, I am the boss of Sega Japan. And I know, I have the most good and fluent English, being a Japanese person, because blood convenience, fuck you. Well, as you know, I wasted my valuable time for this shit. That's right. I'll talk about Peter.
He basically just kind of goes over it and says, this is stupid, this is unnecessary, why are you going to the extreme over fictional characters that don't exist? To word it lightly, he said like, it was a lot more offensive the way he said it, I'm putting it lightly.
Or whatever, about how I mistreat animals. This video was published in 2016. 2016? That was 1 year ago. What a surprise. But well, Peter will have so valid arguments to say that I mistreat Sonic. Of course not. I mean, are you telling me that all this drama since 1 fucking year ago was about losing in the game? You call that animal abuse? Or that I understand?
They pretty much don't like his response that was given either, and they kind of have a response of their own after that. And this is when they get a little twisted with it. As you see, they kind of start showing dead animals and stuff like that and trying to prove their point.
We were doing, but not the one you're thinking. Of course not. How are we going to leave all this great wonder? It's totally perfect. But anyway, let's stop stuffing and talk about you. Do you remember when we said about you being a bad person? I mean, that you basically mistreated your employees? Of course you remember. In fact, it was very short, since there was a small inconvenience with the artist, so we took care of it. But now that it's gone, I will be the one on the screen, not our mascot. Do you remember that time? 2007? When were you accused of having let a child drown to death? And you didn't even go out to deny what was said.
So they start giving some kind of visual examples of like fictional animals dying and asking them if this is ethically correct to show. And there's nothing wrong with it, even though it is actually pretty morbid trying to prove their point here. They also say this CEO has been mistreating his employees, and they kind of just helped him solve some of the issues that were behind that.
Now this doesn't seem absurd, do you? I guess you won't care that fox drowned to death, right? Because it doesn't exist, right? I guess this isn't, right? Because they don't exist, right? And what about them now? They are real. Will you keep calling him stupid, or will you applaud me for killing them? Because you are disgusting stupid? I know.
Then they get a little bit too racist and stereotypical here. I'm not even really comfortable showing this part, but I'll do it, okay?
That something so fucking simple must be explained to an Asian 300 times because they don't give a fucking shit what they are told, because they are disgusting, full of cockroaches in their stupid brain. That's why they have so much child porn, because they are disgusting sons of bitches. And you, Japan, you know what is going to happen to you. Nobody is going to cry for your death.
Hey bro, those are some pretty heavy accusations to be making, and then he also threatened him and said he will literally kill him. If you couldn't tell, they're referring to Japan as the CEO of Sega for some reason. I don't know why they're intertwined, but that's what they're referring to. Unless they just generally are speaking to Japan that way. But I don't know, bro. It's weird.
I will make all your stupid parts eaten by the animals. Nobody will miss you. Nobody. You will be turned into a fucking food for the animals. You will see what is going to wait for you, fucking Asian. The same happened to you as them.
And then the video gets deleted by the author. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a lot to unpack here and I don't really understand it entirely. To me, it all just seems like a bickering, you know, back and forth between PETA and pretty much anyone else usually. They're usually very overly critical about depictions of animals in anything, really. It doesn't matter the kind of form of media. It doesn't matter if it's fictional, non-fictional. They get pretty upset about any form of mistreatment of animals or depictions of animals being mistreated, which is completely understandable to a certain extent, but they do take it to the extreme sometimes. Them reaching out to try to get the attention of Sega in order to get them to stop mistreating animals, so to speak, in their games, and Sega's just kind of like, dude, we're not doing that. Shut up. What are you talking about? We're literally over here just making games. There's no blood, there's no gore, there's no harm being actually done here. I'm not gonna pay attention to you, and they didn't take too kindly to it. I do still feel like they were kind of unnecessary on their part, though. There were no actual animals or anything being harmed in these games. It was all fictional. We know this, right? They actually he was actually kidnapping people. 3 people died. 3 employees died. And they're just gonna let that happen? But yeah, leave me some suggestions of any other analog horror series you think I should, get behind, make some videos for. And also in the comment section, let me know what your guys' theory is on this. I feel like I'm missing some pieces here. I'm not fully understanding it. Maybe it was due to the kind of, I don't want to say completely broken English. It's just, it was sometimes hard to understand what they were talking about when they were talking sometimes, So if any of you guys could break it down for me, I'd appreciate it.